Hi, my name is Todd. I've been a sound engineer for quite a few years, 20 some odd years, working in churches, everything from 50 to 100 members to multiple thousands of members. So, as you can imagine, a wide range of sound systems involved in that. Not only a wide range of sound systems, but a wide range of budgets and expectations. So you'll see a lot of different things coming around. What I tend to function mostly at is churches that don't necessarily have a big budget, but they have a big heart. So what we're going to start talking about first: how does God view acoustics? What value is there in what we do, based on the Bible? We're going to look at that, and then from there on, in further lessons, we'll be talking about our own attitudes, our relationships. And we're going to get involved in talking about equipment too. Everything from what is a microphone to what's the best microphone, what's a speaker, what's the best speaker, how to choose a soundboard, cabling, anything that you have questions about. Go ahead and post them in the comments, and I'll talk about them in further videos coming up. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, the first scripture we're going to look at is Romans 10:13 through 15. How are they to call on the one that they have not yet believed? How are they to believe in him if they haven't heard? How are they to hear unless someone preaches? How is someone to preach unless he goes? Now, where we fit in is, how are they to hear? There needs to be a preacher. There definitely needs to be someone speaking the gospel truth. And the people attending, the people listening, need to be able to hear it. And it's our opportunity to expand the efforts of a preacher. And I know some people out here, some of you may even be the preacher and the sound engineer, and you're just trying to see what you can do, and God bless you. Having to think about both things at the same time just would rattle me for sure. So we have an opportunity here. We're presented with sound. There is sound that is going from the preacher to the listener, to the person who needs to hear the gospel. We have an opportunity to multiply those efforts, to make one preacher heard by hundreds, heard by thousands, heard around the world if you're recording and going out on the internet. So yeah, sound is important, and we have opportunities here. So should we really be using technology? What are the benefits? How does that get in the way? Well, let's keep going. Let's take another look. Let's take a look at acoustics. All right, so we're going to take a look at Mark 4. What does Mark 4 have to do with acoustics? You'll see. It's going to be good. I love it. So the picture that's up on the screen right now is the picture of the Cove of the Sower. Now, in Mark 4, Jesus has gone out onto a boat just to get out of the crowd. There's thousands of people gathered around in this very Cove of the Sower. And this is where the parable of the sower is preached. You can see in the picture that there's multiple different types of soil there. There's rocky soil, there's thorns, there's fertile soil. And so that's where all those illustrations come from. But check out the shape of this place. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever gone fishing. I'm sure some of you have gone fishing. If you're out in a boat and somebody's standing on the shore, they can hear every word you say. It's the acoustics. We were up on a lake up in the Adirondacks. That's where I live. And we were standing on the shore, and there were a couple of guys going by with a little noisy boat, and they couldn't hear each other over the motor, so they were yelling at each other. And they were talking about the guy in the funny hat that was standing on the shore, and that was me. Anyway, I could hear them clearly, even over the sound of their motor. So check out the shape of this place. You've got Jesus out on a boat, and everybody can hear him. There's a natural amphitheater here. Thousands of people can hear one speaker, one person, speaking the words he was intended to speak since the beginning of time. How do I know he was intended to speak them? Because he's Jesus. Of course, he's doing what he was intended to do. And I love it. Okay, so we're looking at the acoustics here. Before the beginning of time, God said, Jesus, you're going here, and you're going to be speaking this. and I'm going to shape it in just a way so that thousands of people can come and hear what you have to say. God designed this place and ordained this place with acoustics in mind. So are acoustics important to God? Absolutely. Absolutely they are. And you can see just from this one. But this one isn't good enough. We've got more. But wait, there's more. All right, we're going to go back to Joshua. Joshua 8, verses 30 through 35. There's Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. And you'll have to forgive my pronunciation. The pronunciation isn't the important part. The shape of the place is. So Joshua has come here to read the entire law to the nation of Israel, the entire nation of Israel, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people to listen to what Joshua has to say. So check this out. There's one mountain on the one side and another mountain on the other, and on each side there's an amphitheater. People are standing up to the side of the mountain, and they're able to hear one speaker preaching to thousands. Now, there may have been other ways that they were taking care of, maybe repetition up and through, but I don't know. I haven't been to this place. And even if you do go to this place, you can't be there like it was because now there's cities there. Buildings getting in the way of the acoustics. So, once again, is acoustics important to God? Definitely. Definitely. God ordained before the beginning of time that this place would be the place that the law was read to the entire nation of Israel. God shaped these mountains in this way with these acoustics so that people could hear. So having established that acoustics are important, let's take a look at technology. Some of the first technology that was a sound system, so to speak. Take a look at this picture. This is Ephesus. This is the amphitheater in Ephesus. This is the amphitheater in Ephesus where the crowd was screaming at Paul, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians," and they rioted. One person stands in the center. I got the chance to visit this place, and one person can stand down in the middle, and you can sit anywhere in this amphitheater and hear that one person speaking. This is technology. Man has built this place. Man has built this amphitheater to recreate places like the Cove of the Sower, like the mountains where Joshua read the law. This is a very simple way to do what we do now. Take a look at this next one. This next one is the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall in Troy, New York. As I said, I live in upstate New York. But this space has been deemed one of the most acoustically perfect places in the world. Now, I'm sure there's others that hold the title, just like the birthplace of the U.S. Navy. There's I think there's like a dozen of those. But this place has been found to have a most acoustically perfect space, which means that someone speaking or performing on the stage, the sound arrives at each listener with minimal bounce back, minimal reverb, minimal echo coming from around the room. Each person in the theater can hear the performer. This is an ideal situation. This is what we want. This is exactly what we want, because this means we don't have to spend money on microphones or cables, and we don't have to worry about technology and this and that and the other. This architectural technology does what we work to do naturally. Uses what God has designed and how God has designed it to work so that everybody can hear what's going on. Everyone can hear what the speaker has to say. Everyone can hear how the performer wants the song to be heard. So this is the foundation of how I approach sound engineering. Primarily, get out of the way. It sounds lazy, but do as little as possible so that the word can be heard in the way that it's intended to be heard. But it's not that simple. People aren't designing acoustically perfect spaces for churches. There's gymnasiums and everything else that people are using for churches. So what do you do there? This is where the modern technology comes in. This is where microphones come in. This is where speakers come in. This is where all that comes into play. So in the next lesson, here's what we're going to do. We've got one more thing to do before we get into that technology. We've got to talk about relationships and our attitude. So you can look for that. That'll be lesson 2 coming up. And look forward to trying it out, seeing your comments. Please, yeah, if you have questions, post them down there. I'll do what I can to answer them in the upcoming messages. Yeah, that's it for this one. We'll see you later. Trish, I never figured out a catchy catchphrase. What's my catchy catchphrase? Sounds like we're done here. Ha ha. Is that a good one? Okay, bye. I'll just sign wave. No.